what we've been saying is that it's pretty difficult to double your traffic, but it's really straightforward and I would say easier to double your conversion rate. And most e-commerce businesses out there, they don't know this or they're not aware of this. Hello everybody and welcome to Surge. This week we will talk about conversion rate optimization and why conversion rate optimization should be done on a monthly basis. Now, Joe, as you know, a lot of people or a lot of business owners, a lot of e-commerce owners are thinking about conversion rate optimization is a one-time thing, right? We get a lot of requests. A client comes to us or a prospect comes and says, look, here is my e-commerce site. I'm doing $6 million right now. 50% of my traffic is coming from organic Google. 20% is coming from Facebook, 20% from YouTube, 10% from affiliates. And then they basically know that they could do better in terms of their conversion rate, but they don't know how. So what we do is we basically show them the way and we say, look, here are the most important things that we would do in the next 90 days or in the next 60 days. However, conversion rate optimization is not really a one-time thing. Let's talk about that. Why can't we just do CRO as a one-time project and be very confident that we did the best that we could?
So there are multiple reasons why. Probably the most important reason being that your users are going to be changing. The demographics could possibly be changing. The devices that they're using to access your store could be changing. If you're not monitoring this on a daily or even weekly or monthly basis, you have no idea what trend to follow or what action to take from an optimization standpoint. For example, if you see that now the majority of your online visitors are accessing your site from a mobile device, and not just any mobile device, but an iPhone, and you don't have Apple Pay, you are leaving tons of money on the table. So it's about understanding who your users are, where they're coming from, what devices they're using, and how they're interacting on your site. So if you're not monitoring this, and I suggest having other tools like heat map tools such as Hotjar, Lucky Orange, to see how the users are actually navigating through the site. We run into times where there are little errors on the site that are overlooked or no one really caught on. However, the users that are coming to your site do catch it and they do drop off. So if you're not looking at this on a monthly basis, you're really hurting yourself in the long run.
So we've been talking about this for years now, and what we've been saying is that it's pretty difficult to double your traffic, but it's really straightforward and I would say easier to double your conversion rate. And most e-commerce businesses out there, they don't know this or they're not aware of this. So what Joe is stating here is that the Apple Pay is just one element that you could improve that could give you a boost of 10%, 15% in conversions. That's 10 to 15% increase in revenue, and a lot of the e-commerce business owners don't really see that. And there are hundreds of different elements that we look at during a conversion optimization process. And we would love to do this on a monthly basis, and we have clients who we do this on a monthly basis. But the value is, imagine if you can consistently get 5 to 10% increase in your conversions on a monthly basis, because this is dynamic now. The technology is changing, the players are changing. For example, you might have some custom functionality on your checkout pages, and you might need to upgrade your JavaScript version. But once you upgrade that JavaScript version, now your Internet Explorer 11 is going to be incompatible with your checkout. So we run into so many detailed issues like this, and the only thing that could fix this is an ongoing conversion rate optimization plan. Now, when we do suggest this, and we have clients that come to us, and we've done projects, one-off projects, I don't know, the value can be anywhere from $5,000 to $60,000 really, depending on how much work we have to do. But Joe, explain to us, obviously everything affects conversions. Design, functionality, the pre-checkout upsells, post-checkout upsells. I mean, we even put upsells in email notifications for the order notifications. Once your order goes through, not only do we do a pre-checkout upsell and a post-checkout upsell, we even send an upsell in the order notification. So if I came to you and let's do a role play here. If I was doing $10 million and you saw a lot of potential, how many months would you put me on a conversion rate optimization plan, basically? How would you plan that out?
So after we get the access we need, we look and see what the lowest hanging fruit is, what we can implement within the first 60 to 90 days to provide the most amount of value. Then after that, we go ahead and we put together a 6-month execution strategy.
And what does that execution schedule look like? What elements do we look at?
So we have a pretty advanced conversion optimization checklist that we have, and it varies based on the platform that you're on versus, Shopify versus BigCommerce versus Magento, etc. However, this checklist is very extensive. It goes from very top level things such as just, your product images. Do you have a product video? All the way down to custom functionality that can be used to increase your average order value as well as your conversion rate.
Got it. Now, the other thing that we want to mention here is we have deep crawling capabilities, and for price comparison purposes and for a couple of other SaaS solutions that we've built, we actually crawl the giant e-commerce sites out there on a daily basis, Joe, and it's incredible. Our engineers actually made us aware of this. We crawl the Amazon seller pages, we crawl Amazon product pages, we crawl Wayfair, we crawl Overstock, we crawl House. And what we've seen, on average, Amazon leads the number of changes, which is crazy. They make around five template changes on a daily basis. It is pretty crazy how dynamic these e-commerce sites are right now. And we used to talk about big data 5, 6, almost 10 years ago. Now you're looking at machine learning and AI data, right? And this is all based on one thing and one thing alone. And the stock prices show it, the revenue shows it, bottom line. So how can the small and medium-sized businesses compete against these billion-dollar companies that have million-dollar resources and they do 5 template changes every day that's geared towards conversion optimization?
Yeah. So the short answer is you can't. However, if you're paying attention to your conversion rate optimization strategy and you're implementing this and executing this on a monthly basis, you're going to be able to narrow the gap. That goes without saying. But you have to pay attention to this. You have to be monitoring pricing. Are you priced competitively? Customer reviews. Are you actively doing anything to try to increase your reviews? Over 90% of shoppers will read reviews before making a purchase decision. If you don't have reviews, they're going to go to the same exact product on a different site that does. So these are the little things that you need to be looking at if you want to even have a chance to compete with the giants.
Yeah. So the basic test that I provide is the following. If you have a product on your website, and if the same product is on Amazon.com under Prime with the same price, why would somebody buy it from your website but not go to Amazon and get 2-day free shipping? Or, overnight shipping for $3? Why? If you can answer that question, let me rephrase that. If you cannot answer that question, then you don't have an e-commerce business. Or you're not going to have an e-commerce business in the long term. So what everybody thinks is conversion rate optimization is a one-time thing, or it's something that you do and it's important and but in reality, everything falls under conversion rate optimization. Because even when you optimize, let's talk about SEO. A lot of people think SEO is a standalone thing, but we've been putting SEO under CRO for a while now, Joe. And it's optimization, right? So which one is greater than the other one? Is conversion rate optimization greater than SEO optimization, or SEO optimization greater than conversion rate optimization?
You have to look at it as one and the same, right? We know that one of the biggest ranking factors in Google's algorithm now, especially come 2021, is going to be site speed.
Engagement, site speed. You're feeding all of this data to Google Analytics. They know which page is converting, which page is not converting. They know your conversion rate. How do you think they're going to rank you?
If you have a poor conversion rate, poor user experience, you're not going to rank for SEO on search engines. So optimizing for SEO, you're optimizing for your conversion and vice versa.
Yeah. So what we're doing actually, and we've been doing this for about 12 months or so, but it's becoming clearer and clearer to us that this is the way that this is going to be in the next 3 to 5 years, is we actually do a conversion rate optimization plan on a monthly basis for our clients. And we put SEO optimization, page speed optimization, paid search optimization, all under conversion rate optimization. The fact being is that conversion rate optimization directly affects your bottom line and your profits. However, SEO, if you don't pay attention to your product pages and your conversion rates and your template structure and the 250 checklist items that we have under our CRO strategy, your SEO, it doesn't matter how much traffic you get from SEO, it's not going to convert. You're not going to know the right way to convert. Let's talk about a little bit about the product strategy here as well, Joe. I mean, if I'm selling a $6,000 product, and we have clients like that, we have clients who sell expensive jewelry, expensive brand watches. Average order, I think, is around $9,000 actually. Your conversion rate is going to be low. But then what we do is we pay attention to the secondary calls to action instead of the primary calls to action. Talk to us about that strategy. A lot of people don't know about this nurture funnels that we've been making millions of dollars for our clients.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Especially once you start to get into the higher price point products, you need to have a nurture funnel. These individuals are still in the consideration phase. They're not ready to enter their credit card information for a $9,000 purchase after just viewing you one time. You need to follow up with them. It's touch point after touch point after touch point. So you need to try to engage, capture their information, capture their email with an incentive, so that way you can remarket to them through email or through Facebook later on in the future.
Yeah. And these nurture funnels revolve around your value proposition to the customer or to the user, right? How are you different than everybody else? How will you make their experience better than everybody else's? Remember, when people are making buying decisions, they're looking at the following. Am I going to make money? Am I going to save money? Am I going to love this product? And this is the last one. This is mine. Joe sometimes doesn't agree with me. But can I show off with this product? There needs to be a social element with that product, with that purchase. Right, Joe? I mean, we buy these ear pods. Yes, they are very useful, etc., etc. But hey, it's pretty cool to be the first guy who buys an Apple phone or an ear pod or the new Tesla or the new Ferrari, whatever you want to call it, right? So which side of the buyer are you appealing to?
We can go on talking about conversion optimization for days, because at the end of the day, the checklist is endless. It's a checklist that once you get to the bottom, you go right back to the top and you work your way down the list again. So it's an ongoing process that should never stop.
Yeah. So if you have questions about the conversion rate optimization plans that we do on a monthly basis, we're happy to answer any questions. But even if you're not going to hire us or hire a third party to do this, you should be paying attention to this at least once a week. We'll talk to you guys next week.